Hello. Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Matt Turk from Bloomberg Ventures. So each time I try to organize the sessions by theme. So for those who were here a couple of months ago, we did big data applications. Last month, we did big data infrastructure. So tonight's session is focused on analytics. So broadly defined, we're going to be talking about all sorts of different things, from SaaS to on-premise software to small data, big data, very big data, so to give you guys a broad overview of interesting solutions being built in the space. So we have 4 great companies. So in order of appearance, we're going to have Dane first, Dane Atkinson from Somol. Then we're going to have Eric and Zenab from Simple Reach. Then we're going to have Justin Borgman from Adapt. And last but certainly not least, Sharmila Mulligan from ClearStory, who's one of the most prominent entrepreneurs, big data entrepreneurs in the Silicon Valley. So just one thing before I forget, the next session is going to be on February 20. It's going to be focused on finance, so big data and finance. And that time around, we have the room on the 28th floor. Unfortunately, we could not get this room, so it's a smaller room. So I would encourage you guys, to the extent that you're interested in attending, to register early when you get the Meetup notification. So tonight we're going to have our regular format, meaning that each presenter is going to be presenting for 10 minutes back to back, and then they're all going to be sitting down to go into panel discussion and then Q&A from you guys. So with that further ado, first up, Dane from Somol.
Hello. Can you guys all hear me okay? All right. Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you all for having us here. Beyond that, thank everybody for challenging the world with fighting in this new data space. I know it's a big concept, but I just really wanted to make sure that we appreciate that everybody's fighting for big data. We want to get that out there. So in the few minutes we have, I just want to share a few big ideas, what we think are in the data space, and then show a bit about what we're doing in the product. From the big idea standpoint, and a lot of this is going to be obvious to you guys, but I think it's worth re-saying, the data world has changed considerably. Originally, data was not just a volume issue where we're now dealing with tens and tens of billions more data points, but the actual nature of each data element is different. Right? It's changed. It's not this sort of living solid block anymore. It's energized, it's moving around, it's alive. It was a dot. Back in the day, you knew what your bank account was, right? It was a solid number. Your checkbook kept where it was. That's a long time ago. That was probably because humans were taking everything, right? It was all manually collected. People were sort of building their catalogs. The stock market would post at the end of the day. It was all hand-tracked. Now it's different. Now it's all machine-created, and it is living. It is a constant river. The second you look at it, it's already gone, right? And I know that's obvious because obvious time series, all that kind of stuff, big data, but it actually means a more fundamental shift in the mentality of what's actually going on. Beyond that, data also was sort of siloed, right? You'd have your bank account again, and that was just one number that you kind of understood. But now, in the future, it's got the 401k tied into it. It has your investment portfolio. It itself isn't a single number. It is dependent upon thousands of other data sets. So no data sits on its own anymore, and no data is even static. It is a different creature. It is a river. It is alive. It flows. It changes. It's fundamentally a new world, which is awesome. So this model, unfortunately, our brains can't really handle it, right? So we take a snapshot of things. We can't actually follow that river and make judgments, which is tricky. The tools we use suck. Sorry, but that's why we're all here, right? We're using calculators in Excel. So you take a snapshot, the snapshot's dead, use a calculator, it's all old stuff, right? So we need this new world of new stuff to kind of empower ourselves into the next era. And the thing that, for whatever it's worth, and obviously we believe in this, but it is a magnitude change. It is not just a small shift in the environment. This is printing press. This is discovery of geography. This is a change that will create a different era of humanity. If we can actually get this data to power smarter choices, we'll all live better, we'll live longer. The world will be totally different. So worth the fight, for sure. So this is our company, or these are the kids of our members in the company. We've been around our product's been out for about 15 months. We're handling, somehow the text got wrong, but we handle over 1 billion page views, We're at 25 billion social impressions. So we're dealing with a lot of big data, but our product actually works for the small business mostly and to higher businesses. So we take a very simple philosophy is how we approach the product, that it should be something that doesn't require an engineer. It should be something that's analyst-free, so it doesn't necessarily need someone who's had a degree in this to make sense of. And it has to be stunning, right? In order for us to win this war, it's all got to be really pretty. So with all that in mind, we made a product, and I think the best way to show it is to actually show it. So we're going to load into our tool. Now, from our customers, they activate us by either coming to our site and putting in their username and password credentials for different data sites out there, or they come from, Shopify, eBay, PayPal, and they can create a site with us here. This is the first wow. This blue line is the revenue for a store that's made about $5 million. He's never seen that before. He was living in downloaded files and bank statements. Now, all of a sudden, he can see his entire life history. It's as if suddenly there was a Bloomberg for his own business, which he never had before. So that's the first win, is he can suddenly discover across all his data. He can see it instantly. He can navigate. He can go into the last minute. He can see what's happened in the last second. He can see his whole history, show off to his girlfriend how he's making a bigger business succeed. It's good. The next thing that we sort of allowed him to do was then drill into his data. So over here you have the library, which is the library for different data assets. And he can drill into anything. So he can take his gross receipts. He can sort of narrow into, is this an old customer or a new customer? And these are calculations we're doing automatically on the back end, right? So he signed up. 2 minutes later, he has all his data from Shopify. We've calculated which customers are old, which customers are new. We show him all of his traction, which are the top products, everything in seconds, which he was doing in manual reports, which took him months, right? So it's a matter of getting complex data sort of into a space that he can actually see and make some kind of sense out of. The next big thing that we did is sort of integrate different data sets. That same idea that nothing stands on itself. So if this customer added his advocacy, say, from Facebook, right? He's got a really good social loop. He gets his product out in the market. They rebuy it. He can map onto the same product a list of his engagement and his sales. And then he can drill into a period of 30 days or a month, and he can try to look for those patterns. It's not a deep tool, right? It's not isolating that this one customer fell off, but it is a great overview. It's at least getting all his world into one place that he can kind of see it and make sense of it. And we see as our customers spend upwards of an hour a session, right? They start off just seeing one little stream, they put another little stream, and they're like, oh, I'm going to put my Twitter in here. I'm going to put other things, and they look for those patterns. Then they can exist in those patterns at that last moment and watch how it sort of moves forward. I understand we're piping through a firewall, so we might have lost some visibility. That's about good. So we're going to default to a video. Yay, videos! So here we're going through the same kind of stuff. I think you might want to go a little further ahead. There we go. Right, so here in this case, we are actually looking at advocacy versus sales. He's seeing it in two places. This is our platforms page. So if he finds that he's realizing social is not a full mixture, he can come in and add his other social sites. He can sort of enrich that experience. He can put more data into one place. And by doing that, he can sort of get some contextuality. We machine generate insights. So we tell him, this was your best day. Your old customers aren't spending as much. These are sort of hooks to get them to look at the data more. And we give them things like goals, right? So I need to get to a certain level by a certain point. So we don't think that data exists, obviously, in a moment. We think it's a continuous stream. So we want customers to look not just from where we are, but also where we're going to be in the future. And goals is one method. And we also have projections, which is the ability that we do a straight line deseasonalized index for any stat. So we'll take all this data and we'll show him where it's going to be in the future, which will give him a sense of, am I on a path for success, a path for failure, but at least brings his mentality beyond the current state and into the future and thinks of analytics not in this retroactive Excel spreadsheet, but more in this river consistent view mentality. I'm just going to other things. There's another function which I think we lost in here, which is the idea of doing math. Math only is a 20% use feature for us, which sucks. That's because obviously people aren't really familiar with math yet, but it allows you to do any expression against any of those lines, right? So you can put in your revenue and your sales, and you can find out what your revenue less sales. You can put in your visits based off your sales, and you can find out the value of a visit. You can put in your likes that translate into sales, and you can find out how much a like actually translates into sales. So it allows, especially people like you who actually have big brains in this space, it allows you to actually dig into the data more aggressively. And then we also allow you to do nice, cool reports to share in your organization and validate your careers, which is also important for people. And this is back to that same customer. Why don't you show off math? While you're there. Oh, you already did, right? So yeah, there's obviously a huge amount of depth in where you can get with this, and obviously our portfolio of customers is growing. We are growing about 10% a week. So it's been a nice little run for us. And we have some of the nicest VCs around, which is also good. And we are also hiring. So here this room is filled with smart people, for what that's worth. And I think the other thing to show is we are a different kind of company. I'm just going to spend 30 seconds on this, but we believe that beyond engineering and the technology, you should change your company. So we have transparent cap tables, transparent salaries, totally changed the configuration. We gave 10% of our equity away to a nonprofit, which we started, which we had so much demand in our last round that we actually capitalized with $500,000. And the nonprofit is designed to use data to change the world positively. This is a site that just launched for it. And one of our first areas is slavery, modern slavery, where we've taken the data around the world and kind of compress it into a way that people can actually make sense of it. So if anyone has data that thinks helps the world or wants to work in a nonprofit, we're also hiring there. And that's it. My 10 minutes. Thanks.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, change the world together.